Kia ora, welcome back everybody, here for another reaction video, this time to Mr. Willie Apiata VC. I had the privilege to spend some time with him a few years ago when we were still living up in Auckland, and travelled through to Whakatane, I think it was at the time, where I was able to spend a little bit of time with him on Poppy Day as he went around handing out poppies to members of the local community. And he was gracious enough to sit down and have a bit of a chat with me along with some of his close friends. So that video I think is still on YouTube somewhere. But this one here is just purely my reaction to Willie's documentary about when he received the Victoria Cross for his actions in Afghanistan. I remember this, just very quickly before we dive in, I remember this when it sort of first came out. I was working the private security sector at that time in and out of Baghdad, and I remember a few of the guys, and I think it was one of them that brought this DVD over at the time, and it was so awesome to watch it. I just remember being just really, really proud to be a Kiwi for one, and then just amazed at what Willie had done. So anyway, rambling on again, let's jump on in. Sorry, I should have mentioned, so 3 months earlier, you see down the bottom, I watched the first couple of minutes because there was a bit of a narration from Mr. Temuera Morrison himself, old Jake the Muss. So I watched forward to this part just so we could get to the start, or hopefully to the beginning of what's happening with Willie sooner rather than later. But yeah, so anyway, let's go.
At the headquarters of New Zealand Special Air Service, the commanding officer is about to release the biggest story in the unit's history. One he has kept secret for almost a year.
When I took over from my predecessor, he informed me of a number of issues, and his parting shot was, oh, and by the way, you might want to keep your eye on this.
In 2006, the colonel was handed a dossier recommending one of his corporals receive the highest award for gallantry. And 1 month ago, that recommendation was approved by the head of the Commonwealth, the Queen.
Sorry, I'm just for cutting in there. I should have mentioned earlier. Years ago, I saw this this video. As I mentioned, a couple of the guys, awesome men. They might tell me off for dropping their first name, but well, not their first name. One of them's their first name, but hopefully they don't. But I remember watching this in Baghdad, back at the bureau where we were, and yeah, just having those feelings. So watching it now, more than a decade has gone on since I've seen this. It's pretty awesome. So I have a lot of the same sort of excited feelings I had when I was in Baghdad, and the lads brought it over.
I'll see if you want to get one.
The manner of this honor makes the story too big to hide, so Corporal Willie Apiata must be revealed to the New Zealand public tomorrow.
Hey, Willie. Let's go.
A 5-year veteran of this unit, Willie Apiata is oblivious to what awaits.
It's usually bad news for a corporal to be dragged into the CO's office on any day, let alone.
I was just going to say, and then I do remember when I watched this, he's probably thinking he's in trouble or something. What the heck's going on? But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the RSM.
Sunday morning.
Morning, Willie.
Usually bad news for a corporal to be dragged into the CO's office on any day, let alone a Sunday morning.
I forgot about that. So on a weekend as well, and a Sunday of all days to be getting asked to come in. He probably definitely would have been thinking he was in trouble, unless they gave him a heads up and said, hey, it's nothing bad, just we need you to come in, we need to have a chat.
Morning, Willie. Have a sit down.
Probably received the shock of his life over the next 5 minutes.
Laid out in front of Willie Apiata, 3 letters.
So sort of wondering, what the hell's going on here. And opened the first letter, and started reading through, and yeah, it was quite speechless actually, and emotional.
One of the things that struck me the very first time I saw this, and still to this day, and then having had the privilege to meet with Willie in person, is just how soft-spoken he is. Like, what I saw on this documentary, the lads did tell me in Baghdad, they said, bro, what you see with this fella here on the video, that is exactly how he is. That's just who the man is. He's soft-spoken, hardworking, genuine, good human being. And yeah, just, it was awesome to see the humility come through from this man, the way he spoke. That really stuck out to me. It's like, wow, there's this guy, a superhero amongst perceived superheroes, in my view anyway, so to me, and just so humble. And so it was awesome. And then having the privilege to meet him in person and just connect those dots and see, feel and hear it for myself, yeah, it was a beautiful thing for me anyway.
The Queen's representative, the Governor-General, the New Zealand Prime Minister and Minister of Defence confirmed that Willie Apiata will receive the rarest of military honours, making him one of just 12 holders of the Victoria Cross alive in the world.
Didn't really get a chance with this thing, and I was whisked away down to Wellington that afternoon.
As a Special Forces soldier, the disclosure of Corporal Willie Apiata's actions is unprecedented. He is also the first person to receive the Victoria Cross for New Zealand.
And still only. So first person, I think in recent times anyway, with the Victoria Cross. And yeah, amazing. Awesome.
Willie is flanked by his commanding officer, his regimental sergeant major.
Fella looks scuck says, I forgot all about this part. Yeah, look, Flash has Men in Black, MIB.
And a carefully chosen mentor from the unit.
Oh. If that's the mentor I'm thinking of, he was my training warrant officer when I went through my cycle in 99. I think it's him. He's yeah, he's an awesome human being. I have a lot of time for him. I think he's still in, so I'm not going to say his name even after all these years. He's still there, but I suppose with that amount of experience, knowledge, expertise that he has, you know, you don't want to just let that go out to pasture and not be able to tap into that and or leverage it to help the unit grow, to help other operators coming through learn from that and grow as well. So it's awesome to see. He's also the same, so when they spoke about mentor, he's also the same gentleman that came to my court hearing when I was in Auckland, when I was facing going to jail for 6 years for the fight that I had with a civilian, which I'm not proud of at all. I didn't start it, but thankfully my mates were there and pulled me off at that, because yeah, it was I shouldn't have carried on. Shouldn't have happened in the first place, but it did. But it was awesome having him there. He was a huge support. And if I felt guilty, or not if, the only sort of guilt that I felt when I decided to not go back to the unit was because of him. But I was still too hurt to want to go back after what I had been told, so I chose not to. But yeah, if there was anybody that I felt bad for in terms of letting down, in terms of the trust that he put in me as a young buck to come into the unit, and he tried hard to encourage me to come back, yeah, that would be probably the only person that I felt guilty for. Sorry that I didn't come back and went to Australia instead. But no regrets, that's all in the past now. But awesome to see that he's there, and to be reminded of that. yeah, like I said, well over a decade since I watched this, and so it's just nice to relive some of those emotions and have these memories come flooding back as well.
While in Wellington, their job is to keep Willie up close, but out of sight, until tomorrow's announcement.
It's hard enough for me knowing, but it's not me that was receiving the medal. For Willie, it would have been near impossible to sit on a secret like that, knowing that his whole life was going to change.
The first step in this life-changing event takes the group to an almost deserted New Zealand Defence headquarters, where the team responsible for overseeing tomorrow's public announcement has a long night planned.
Okay. Hey, Clive. G'day. How are you? Good. Clive Robertson. Willie Apiata.
Willie. Right.
Yeah. All right.
Clive's going to measure you up for your uniforms, then after that we'll get some photos done.
Okay, cool. All right.
Straight away, Willie is sent for a uniform fitting in an adjacent building.
One day you'll have a statue like this here.
The statue of Brigadier Bernard Freiberg VC is a reminder to Willie of his newfound status.
Willie looking straight ahead like you would. Yep. Right.
It's awesome. I heard that. I'm not sure if you heard it. The gentleman said, one day you'll have a statue like this here. So we should. So we should.
You did bring some skivvies in.
Not sure if you heard that. I think he was asked, your feet touch the ground yet? He was like, nah. It's like, all right, it's been called in Sunday. From what the RSM was saying earlier, it's still Sunday. Whipped down to Wellington on the flight. It's in the evening now. Big day for the man.
Just drop down to my side.
Willie gets a new uniform, befitting the occasion of such an announcement.
You know, Willie's more comfortable in a pair of gumboots than a pair of old trackies or his hunting gear. The reality of it is that, that's not appropriate attire for a public event.
It's all organised.
As the evening draws on, Willie receives an unexpected visit from the country's most senior military commander, Lieutenant General Jerry Mataparai.
From 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, you'll be wearing those. Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Short and sweet, man. Too much, General Mataparai. Yeah. Just awesome that he made that time to come down, as I suppose you'd expect, and as he would anyway. Seems like I've never met the man, but seems like a very genuine, humble, and intelligent human being as well. But yeah, it says a lot. Hey, when your leaders make time, get up and go travel to go see you, greet you, and just good luck. Man.
Understandably nervous,
What a time to be into all things music. With free data for Spotify Music on Spark Pay Monthly mobile plans.
Willie is the first New Zealand recipient of a Victoria Cross in 64 years.
I'm just going to relax. We get plenty of this. It's a fairly daunting prospect to know that you've gone from relative anonymity to becoming a public figure for the rest of your life. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
And hearing the CEO, Blackwell, say that, I remember thinking at the time in Baghdad, watching this, just thinking, yeah, man, his whole world has changed. There's another layer, an added layer of pressure. There's already the pressure within the unit to work, to show up every day, daily renewable contract, to perform to the best of your ability. And now there's this extra piece, this extra mantle that he has to carry. Now he's strong enough to do that, to carry that, but still, it's more, anybody that's looking to go into the unit, like what Willie's done, and like the service that he's giving, he's not going there because he wants to stand out. He's there because he just wants to do his job. Likely be like many of the other men that I've met, be with men that are willing to go always a little further, that have got your back, that will be there for you when times are hard. But now, this whole world's changed, and a lot of good, I think, has come from it in terms of the opportunity that I had to speak with him, but also not without its challenges as well. But I won't delve into those. That's information that Willie was kind enough to speak with me about in private. So, let's get back to this.
Okay, you can relax.
Willie gets a crash course in how to be an overnight hero.
Willie's a very humble person by nature and not prone to saying too much.
But that doesn't cut the mustard. When an announcement like this is made, then people want to know a little bit about you, and they want to hear your story. You're a hero.
I remember hearing that, and when Blackwell spoke, and jumping in, that doesn't cut the mustard. I get it. He's right in terms of people wanting to know and hear, but bro, the man Willie he's going to be Willie, He's going to be himself, and that's what shone through to me throughout this entire documentary. I'm not going to get through all of this in here, so I'll probably, hopefully, I don't know. I bloody said this before, and it ended up taking Lincoln ages to get through just the first Among Equals documentary. So I don't know how many bites at the apple it's going to take me, but I'll get through it. But that did make me laugh. Blackwell's comments.
Hero. Absolutely.
Your story.
You're a hero. Absolutely. Now, you might need to hear that a few more times before it starts sitting comfortably, and you're going to hear it a lot. As of tomorrow, when the first radio bulletins go out, you are a New Zealand celebrity.
I looked at Willie's face, and I look at it now still, and I have the same feelings. I can hear and I respect the gentleman 100%. I agree with him. Willie is a hero, and nobody would, in their right mind, would refute that. But I look at Willie's face when he's hearing these words from the gentleman that's speaking to him, and all I could think about when I was looking at Willie was he's looking at that guy thinking, this was just my thoughts. I'm not saying this is what Willie was thinking, but I thought to myself, he looks like, and the look on his face, on Willie Apiata's face, looks like he's looking at him, thinking to himself, I'm not a hero. I just did my job. You don't understand. I and we, his whole team, this is what was going through my head, and it's what's right at the forefront of my head right now. He's looking at the guy and thinking to himself, I just was doing my job. Me and my brothers were doing my job. We were in the crap of it, and we needed to get out. And there was no way he was not going to help anyone and everyone in his team get out of that situation. So that's the thoughts that go through my mind when I look at Willie and his not reaction or response, but just his very calm demeanor, and just looking at the guy. But respect to the guy for saying that. I think it is important. Does Willie feel like that now, like a hero? I've never asked him that question. But again, I think I would get the same answer if I ever did, or if anybody did. He's just a soldier doing his job, looking out for his mates, is what I think he would say still to this day. The fact that he's been honoured with the VC is awesome and rightly deserved. And it's just awesome watching this again.
People will be reading the Prime Minister's announcement and seeing your photo all around the world by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's how big and how fast it's all going to happen. Yeah. And that's going to take a little while to rattle around in between your ears. But I'm telling you now, bro, it's the absolute reality.
It's like, hey, you jump into the deep end of a pool and you can't really swim, and you're treading so much water trying to get back to the surface.
At midnight, the call is made to stop.
Yeah, we might leave it there then. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
For Willie, a sleepless night lies ahead. as he knows that tomorrow New Zealand will be delivered the groundbreaking news. They have a new hero. With the Prime Minister's announcement that Corporal Willie Apiata has been awarded the Victoria Cross, the 35-year-old soldier must now face a national press conference, and he's not looking forward to it.
From where I come from the job I do, even giving a little is too much.
And when you're ready, just start.
Lieutenant Colonel Mike Shatford briefs the press on the ground rules.
What I'd like to do is just outline the process that's going to happen this afternoon, so we're all clear on the rules of the game.
Willie Apiata has only just found out about this huge honour. It is quite overwhelming, so I would ask that you go as easy as you possibly can on him.
Willie's moment of reckoning cannot be delayed any longer.
I don't think anyone can prepare themselves for what I walked into that morning.
I'm not behind you. Cheers.
Just standing there was just unreal, eh? It's just real emotional.
Willie Apiata joins yet another group of elite people. This is the first award of the Victoria Cross for New Zealand. His is the first and the only Victoria Cross to be awarded to a New Zealand serviceman since the end of the Second World War.
The questioning quickly turns to that night in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I was doing my job, and just looking after my mates. It was the...
What was going through your mind at that time?
I remember watching this. I think we had it sort of in the lounge area again when I was overseas. And I remember watching it on my own. I could feel, and I still can now, I could feel his wide away, his spirit, the feelings, that it was strong. And I remember shedding a couple of tears just for him whilst watching it overseas at that time. And yeah, man, you can see it, how heavy and overwhelming this all is for him. And even watching it again after more than a decade on, nearly 2 decades on, is still strong feelings now for the bro, for what he's done and what he's experiencing and how he's holding it all together still to this day. Incredible.
You can sense the anticipation of the press, get some sort of information out of you so they can tell your story.
Where's my buddies? How can I help them?
During this incident, did you feel fear? I mean, what was the feeling that went through you as you were doing this?
At the time, I was just doing what I've been trained for, doing my job, look out for my mates, watch each other's back, and the heat of the moment, I can't really say at this time.
There was a lot of fun.
Pretty consistent, just with his answers, doing his job, looking out for his mates. Where are my buddies? How can I help? The man.
Fire going on, you weren't worried about being hit. Going on, you weren't worried about being hit.
Oh, I think it's probably time to take the question somewhere else. What is?
That's just now hearing that. I think there's another time too, but I loved that Willie could look towards his CO, Blackwell is the surname, Jim first name, and I loved the way, as you might have heard the CO Jim Blackwell mention as they were going in, I'm right behind you. He's got his back. And that was awesome to hear when I first heard it. It was great to hear again And now with this year, I recall, I think there's a couple of other times during this interview where members of press ask some questions and the CEO's right there. He's got his back. So tip cap to the CEO, to Jim Blackwell, for being there and having Willie's back and looking out for him. But also for Willie to just, look over, hey, you want to get that one, boss? And he's straight in. So wicked, awesome.
He's obviously quite overwhelmed by the situation today, and perhaps we could talk a little bit more about some other things.
Do you see yourself perhaps as a living legend, as others might do from this day forward?
I see myself as Willie Apiata. I'm just an ordinary person, and this is me. Yeah.
I think, sorry, I think it was that moment where I shed a few tears. They almost came again for him. Just his composure and his ability to hold it together, man, during that time. Might have seen my reaction to that question. I'd forgotten all about that question, or all of these questions, to be honest. Do you see yourself as a bit of a living legend? Far out. I can tell you now, I reckon if you asked anybody that question and they answered and responded to you with, yep, I see myself as a living legend, I'm turning the channel, bro. I'm getting up and walking out of that room. That's it. I don't need to hear any more about this person. For me personally, I don't need to hear anything else about them, because their nose is that far up in the air that they're not going to be able to get to them anyway. That would be my impression. So I don't know how or why that question. Maybe she was looking for the same thing, and if he had said yes, then maybe she would have got up and walked out of the room. But that is a rubbish question, in my personal opinion. Anyway. Oh, sorry. And on the back of that, love Willie's response. Yeah, I see myself as Willie Apiata. And that last part, I'm just me. I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to it again.
A little bit more about some other things.
Do you see yourself perhaps as a living legend, as others might do from this day forward?
I see myself as Willie Apiata. I'm just an ordinary person, and this is me. Yeah.
This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, actually.
Good one. Well done.
Thank you, sir. That was a great job. It was an enormous amount of pressure on him to present himself. I think he did a great job. But Willie was just Willie. He was just being himself. That is him. That is Willie the man.
And like I said earlier, everybody that had, like, prior to me ever having the privilege to meet with Willie, everybody that had met him or knew him, worked with him, some of the guys that I was working with, that I ended up working with overseas there at the time, were actually in that same contact. Everybody has said, what you see in this documentary, in recognition of Willie, that is exactly who he is. That's how he is. That's how he communicates. He's just a very genuine, humble, hard-working man. And awesome to see. Sorry, and just acknowledging the last part of that female's question as well, as she was mentioning, as others may perceive him to be, or may see him to be, something like that, in terms of being a living legend. Yeah, she's right. Absolutely, people will probably, not probably, oh, no, I say probably because there are a few people that are still anti sort of Defence Force personnel, which is fair enough. But there are a lot of people that would perceive him as a legend. I know I do. I see him as a legend, a living legend, and grateful that he's with us and grateful for the work that he's done. I've never met the person that he carried out, but when I did spend some time with Willie, he spoke very, very highly of that person and his team members, as much as he could, or as much as he was comfortable in doing. And it was awesome to hear it from the horse's mouth, a little bit more information that I didn't know.
After facing the cameras, Willie asked for a private moment with the people who helped him through it.
I've always been a man of few words, but I need to say something, and
since 9 o'clock yesterday. It's just been an unbelievable experience. The old 12 o'clock news today, that sort of really hit home for me. I'd just like to thank you all for everything that you've done in the last 3 years, building up to this day. I can't believe I only just found out 9 o'clock yesterday about all of this, but thanks very much. I just don't, words just can't explain how much I appreciate what you fellas have done. So thank you. Kia ora.
You're going to get sick of us.
Yes, Willie.
Thank you.
I'm going to pause it there. It's nearly 35 minutes. I forgot about that part as well. There's heaps I've forgotten, man. Rewatching this again, but it's cool. So there's a few things. Seeing him do that and then go around and shake their hands. When I was with him, I'm pretty sure it was Whakatane. We had the Poppy Day, as I mentioned earlier, or at the start of the video, in the RSA, where we went into, where there was a whole bunch of veterans and stuff there, relaxing. He was introduced by, I think, the manager for that particular RSA there, which was awesome, which was nice. But just seeing him and hearing him speak there, he spoke and said a few of the same similar words, just thanking everybody, acknowledging everybody that was there. And then there must have been easily, probably, you know, not like a big massive crowd, but 40 or 50 people, maybe a few more. And then he proceeded to go around and shake every person's hand in that room. Didn't need to. A couple were sort of thought that he was going to take off, and they came up anyway to try to get, you know, to have a shake of his hand, and a couple had photos with him. And he is just super grateful, super gracious and humble and kind, and just, yeah, no worries. Took the time to spend with them. There were some veterans that I remember seeing in wheelchairs. Obviously the older generation there at the RSA as well. And it was awesome to see, heartwarming to see a man like that, the mana that he holds, and just taking the time out in his day to make sure that he shook everybody's hand and greeted them. So RSA, Return Service Association, Return Servicemen and Women Association. And so, yeah, just seeing that just brought back those memories of what a genuine, good human being Willie is. 3 years worth of work behind the scenes for those people, so credit to them as well. A lot of work, a lot of needing to keep things quiet, I would imagine, on their behalf, so things don't slip out. And as Willie mentioned, he couldn't believe he only just found out 9 o'clock the day before, while all of these people, bless them, have been working for building up to that moment, but have been working behind the scenes, you know, doing everything that needs to happen. So, yeah, awesome. I'm going to leave this one here. Got to almost 15 minutes, nearly 40 minutes on here now. But I hope you enjoyed this reaction. I know it's probably not as authentic as my other reactions, because I have actually seen this, but it was nearly 2 decades ago now when I watched this. So there's a lot of stuff I'm reliving and refeeling, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. So appreciate you all. Put up a post the other day just to express my appreciation. Never thought I'd be at this stage with regards to the channel, and from when I started it in middle of March last month, and just very, very appreciative, grateful for anybody that's taken any time to be here on my channel, to leave a comment, to give it a thumbs up, to engage with me in any sort of way, and or to share your knowledge and your information, your experiences, which no doubt help others that may come along and read through the comments. So thank you very much for that. I genuinely appreciate it. As always, and in closing, you know, anybody that's going through any difficulties or challenges at this time, hardships, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight. Better days are ahead, although it may not seem like it. Better days are ahead. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep moving forward, go always a little further. And as always, remember, who dares wins. Until the next video,
Bye.